It can take you to some really unexpected places, because this is not about just finding the light inside us. It's about finding the darkness in us too. The letter O, openness. Why is openness important in the men's personal development journey? The next bit has to be a leap of faith, because if we knew what it was, it'd already be within our realm of understanding. Follow me? Those unexpected outcomes are the ones that really shake the ground, really cause the progress to happen. If we're going in with a closed mindset, that means on one hand, we kind of think we know what the output is going to be. We kind of think we know where the destination is. And that's a key mistake, right? Because the doing the road journey takes many twists and turns. You end up in many weird places, doing many weird things, and with outcomes that you didn't expect at the time. You know that cliche where we say it's not the destination, it's the journey. That's doubly true for the personal development journey, for the doing the work journey. It can take you to some really unexpected places. It can take you to some dark places inside. You find some stuff out about yourself, which you might not be that happy to find out about yourself in the first place. But having looked at that, you will become the better for it, because this is not about just finding the light inside us. It's about finding the darkness in us too. As Carl Jung says, I don't seek to be a good man, I seek to be a whole man, right? So what we're looking for is completeness. Actually, let me take that back. Not what we're looking for is completeness. What we're looking for is fullness. That's the word that I want to use. I've spoke about this before, but when I was first on this, starting out on the men's personal development journey, or even before that actually, when I first started out in my life, I've been quoted as saying that I first thought that my journey through life was going to be sort of upwards and outwards, and really it's ended up becoming widening, deepening and turning inwards in a good way. So what I mean by that is, if you think about our lives, I like you to think about it in terms of like we're more like a tree growing outwards, which then enables us to reach up. It's not a linear process of getting from here to there. It's a process of widening our experience and understanding of self, and broadening of our skills, broadening of our understanding of things, so that we can lead a fuller life. That's really the best visual metaphor I can use. Is we're like trees. We grow outwards, and I think if you was to cut our psyche, you'd kind of see it would have little circles on it, just like a tree. We get to certain elements of it, and we've reached the limit of our knowledge, our network, our experience, our understanding of self, whatever it is we're trying to get to. And the next bit has to be a leap of faith, right? Just think about it. I'm going a little bit fast here, but let me just wheel it back. And I will get back to why openness is important. But if you take the metaphor that every now and again we have knowledge, we have understanding of ourselves, we have a network, we have resources, we have whatever it is that we need for that particular part of our journey, whatever it is we're looking at. If we're growing, logically, there's going to be a part on that journey where we reach the limit of those things, the limits of our strategies, the limits of our understanding, the limits of our resources. Well, then it stands to reason that if we've reached the limit of all of that, then to grow, the next bit has to be a leap of faith. Because if we knew what it was, it would already be within our realm of understanding. Do you follow me? So if we keep second guessing what the destination is, let alone what the next step is, we're closing down opportunity. So we have to bring openness to that. We have to bring a sense of, first of all, openness of where I'm going in terms of my journey, where I may end up, right? It's not, the personal development journey isn't, I'm going to go from here to there. It may start that way, because often it starts from crisis. So it might be, I'm an alcoholic, right? I want to give up drinking, right? Bang, that's the destination, sobriety. But what happens with a lot of men, they get into that, they get into the rooms, they get into the program, and suddenly that starts a journey of lifelong learning about self and understanding of self. So they end up somewhere quite differently. You might start off with going, I just want to stop drinking. You might end up being an expert on sobriety or something completely unrelated. It may cause you to challenge all of the mimetic desires, all of the desires that we've copied from parents and society beforehand. And the learning about ourselves has caused us to question those things. So now we want to do something entirely different, right? So if I keep myself closed onto the one path I'm trying to go, and I don't allow in any openness, I'm shutting myself down. I'm shutting myself down. And then there's also openness with self, an openness to willing to be able to let people in that I might not have previously. And I might not have if it's on this, if I've got a very stuck mindset about where I'm going and who with. I talk about this all the time, so I often come back to the Mankind Project and my experience within the Mankind Project. And one of the things I love about it most is that the people that it brings together, I wouldn't expect to see those people brought together, right? So one that I talk about often and one that really sticks to my mind is within the Mankind Project, we have these men called men of service. And these are men who turn up on the NWTAs, the New Warrior Training Adventures. I'll stick something in the comments if you want to find out more about the Mankind Project. It's a huge undertaking, the NWTA. There's lots of men on there. And one of the things I love about it is men actually pay to go on to staff the weekend for the next men coming up. It takes each one teach one to a new level. And I think it makes it something very unique and special. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. On those weekends are a group of men called Men of Service, and they sign up just to feed the staff and the participants of that weekend. They are literally there to serve, right? Because they believe in the outcome. They believe in what it gives them, so they're there to help other men. Service is a key part. But I always remember being on that weekend, one of those weekends, and going in to seeing the Men of Service in the kitchen. They had some music on, they were playing, they had a great time. And I walked in, and the atmosphere in there was fantastic. It was men doing what they do best. A clear outcome. They'd worked out a system. They were working together and having fun, right? And what struck me was there was two men chatting away happily together, washing up. Now, one of them was an ex-con, not long been out of prison, and the other one was a former High Court judge. These two men were there having a great time connecting with each other. Now, I may be wrong, but I don't think I would be ridiculous in thinking that had it not been for something like the Mankind Project and the personal development journey to bring these men together in a certain way, they wouldn't have connected that way. They may not have. Let me be exact. They may not have. Who knows for sure? But an ex-con and a High Court judge together happily. Now, if one of them, either way round, had a restrictive idea of who they were going to be willing to work with and be vulnerable with, that connection wouldn't happen, right? And who knows what these men got from each other's interaction? Both ways. Again, I'm not making any assumptions about who has something to teach the other, right? Because that's the point of openness. Let's go in, let's meet each other on this journey with a sense that each man I come across may have something to teach me, and let me be open to learning that lesson. So if these men, either of them, had not had an open mindset about self, so a willingness to look at who I interact with and how, but also didn't have an openness to who they would work with and where, or a specific outcome, they may not have got that connection. Is this making sense? So when we start off on this men's personal development journey, we're starting off on a journey where we cannot be completely sure where we're going to end up, or even the person that we're going to end up being. It really is a leap of faith, and you can't have a leap of faith without openness. Openness to outcome, and openness to who is going to join you on your journey, and openness to what you may have to do on your journey should it turn out to be something that you feel is beneficial for you. I remember years ago now, it's got to be 8 years ago or something, I was invited on to Radio 5 to do a talk about masculinity. It had been in the press because Gillette had done this advert where they'd changed it from the best a man can get to the best a man can be. And they'd done a publicity stunt, really, about masculinity, and it worked, right? It ended up on BBC. And so I was on BBC Radio 5, and they'd kind of set me up, really. They'd brought this reporter and this writer there, and we were on different sides of the camp, let's say. He wanted to poke fun, I think, at men's personal development, and particularly at some of the practices that are used within it. And at one point, he said, would I have to run around the woods with a stag's head on to get what I want on one of your programs? And my response to him was, you know what, brother, like, you don't have to, but if you think it will help you, I'll be willing to join you on that, right? And of course, that's me being trite. It was a joke. I was just batting it back at him and pulling out the absurdity of what he was saying. But there's some truth in it, right? I won't say I would do anything, but I've pushed myself further than I thought I ever would into things that I wouldn't normally do for my own benefit and or for the benefit of other men. You know, if I can serve a man, I will, but it's not like a completely unreciprocal arrangement, actually, because when I serve a man, I get served. When I help another man heal, I heal. I mean, it's they talk about wounded healers, but it's not. It's wounded men who have wounded men, healing other men, helping men heal, rather. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for being open. If I start working with a man and I have a closed idea of who he is, what he's about, where he's going, and or if there's a man facilitating me, I have a closed idea of where it should go and what my process is, I may not get the unexpected outcome that I'm looking for, right? And in my experience, those unexpected outcomes are the ones that really shake the ground, really shake the bedrock, really cause the progress to happen. And I am not going to get those. And therefore I make up that you're not going to get those unexpected breakthroughs if you are not open. Okay, so when we talk about openness, this is letter O for openness. When we talk about it, what I'm talking about is openness of what I'm willing to do, openness of what I'm willing to experience, openness of outcome, and openness of ultimate destination. I have to give up an element of control. I have to be open to giving up the strategies that I know, the beliefs that I know, the ideas that I have and the expectations I have to be able to get something that I don't expect. And it's that what I don't expect is the gift, right? So remain open, remain curious, keep doing the work, keep connecting. I hope to see you all soon. This was P for Imperfect. I'm Laurence Johns. Take care. I'm out of here. Bye.